Hi guys, welcome fellow practitioners, analytics practitioners. I'm going to be talking about some interesting topics today, real-time intelligence streams and big data. I'm going to take you through some examples. It'll be a little more technical than some of the presentations you've seen already, but I think it'll be very educational for you. But just kind of the first things that come to my mind when I came to this conference, this is my first time here, it's just like, wow. There's a really positive energy. You know, there's a lot of opportunity, and I think there's a lot of passion, which is great to hear. They're all also speckled in as a little bit of fear. I think we're all a little, fearful of what is coming. And the bottom line, I've been in the decision sciences industry for about 18 years now. In the last 18 months, I've never experienced anything like this before in my life in the industry. I really think we're in that, the Schumpeter, destruction, creative destruction kind of phase. We're basically in a whole role of disruption in our industry, and it's just it's an amazing time to be in this decision sciences field. But what I want to do is I got just two quick things kind of on the agenda items here. I want to just start with a bigger picture, though. I want to paint a bigger picture where some of the key trends in the industry are. It takes me a few minutes, kind of ground where real-time and intelligent systems places, and then we'll go deep down into real-time intelligent systems. So these are some of the big trends that are happening in the industry. I want to go through them a little bit here. The key thing, though, is look on top. It's about consumption. That's the number one thing as an analytics practitioner. It's about the consumption of analytics. Okay, guys? I have the luxury at Mu Sigma to visit a lot of enterprises, a lot of analytical departments. And the number one thing they ask me, well, not the number one thing, but sometimes I do get this question, hey, Zubin, my department, my analytics shop, are we the number one shop you've ever experienced? Are we the coolest, baddest shop, that you've seen? We're building these super support vector machines that are boosted and bagged, and we've got generalized additive models we're building. Are we the coolest? I say, well, yeah, you're building some pretty sophisticated models, but what are you doing with them? Well, we have holdout samples, and we get 2% MAPEs in our holdout samples. But I say, no, what are you doing with them? And I get kind of a blank screen, a blank stare. So it's very important for us to consume, the analytics to be consumed. I heard a lot of quotes, data should be free, but analytics needs to be consumed. So that's kind of what I'm a big, whipper about, for lack of a better word. And these three, well, all these trends, we track about 16 right now, they're all rolled up around the consumption of analytics to help you increase your adoption and consumption of analytics. So the big trend here, which we're talking about a lot today or yesterday, is high-performance computing. So I don't have to talk about that a lot, but you've heard parallel processing. It's really all about parallel distributed processing, NoSQL type of methods, Hadoop, et cetera. We've heard about that already. Another area, which I did hear a little bit about, was about master data management. This is another big trend, I think, that's going to be happening. I'm starting to read papers, and I plug into academia a lot. I plug into enterprise a lot, so I'm kind of like this central point. People are talking about the end of the central enterprise data warehouse. Is that metaphor even valid anymore? Is it more of a federated, metadata fabric that's going to be built out? And I run federated queries. That's some of the ideas behind that trend there. But high performance computing, again, huge trend. It enables some of these other trends. So usability and visualization, and I can't even say how huge this one is. It's all about consumption, right? Look at Apple. It's about aesthetics, about design, bringing that to our BI and dashboard layers. Now, I want to say one thing about dashboards real quick. There's a really good paper in information management about dashboredom, okay? So dashboards are very, very boring. I haven't seen really many dashboards that get me really excited. And so what you really need to think about is, how are they going to evolve? How should you evolve dashboards? Don't think them as dashboards. Think them as cockpits. All right? So what is a cockpit? So I've got my dashboard, but you're giving me a steering wheel. You're giving me simulation capability. You're giving me optimization capability. You're giving me some way to intervene in the market, or intervene into my system that I'm monitoring and managing. So we'll move to that cockpit metaphor. So that's a key takeaway there. Improved data visualization aesthetics, we talked about a little bit. Integration of consumer and enterprise, we're seeing that. Agile, we've talked about that. I've heard people talk about that. Saw a great demo yesterday of graph methods, graph theory. Graph analytics, sparked by social data, can be applied in many other areas. It's a very elegant way to show multivariate data, to show multivariate hierarchical data. So we think graph analytics is going to be pretty big. All right, so let's go down to intelligent systems. What are these things? And that's a huge, again, another big trend. I'm using huge a lot, but it's a pretty amazing time right now. And there's a bunch of trends within there. We're going to talk a lot about real-time analytics and event streams. But some other ones you should be thinking about are operational systems, your OLTP systems, and your analytical systems. So when you look at IT shops today, you see two worlds. Those worlds are converging. And that's where we're seeing a lot of value coming out of, those two worlds converging. Artificial intelligence, it's in a lot of places, but it's not where you expected it. It's in games. It's in many behind-the-scenes algorithms that are firing up a lot of sites today. Don't forget the fourth tier. It's very juicy. The fourth tier is about the advanced analytics layer. People build their IT stacks and they forget about that layer. It's very important. We call it juicy because you can really squeeze the orange. You can squeeze a lot of value from your data assets. Meta-heuristics and the ants is about optimization and biologically inspired methods. Exception reporting, very powerful way to add intelligence to your reports with the exception reporting paradigm. Experiments in the enterprise is another big trend. That's what a hallmark of a very strong analytics group is a test and learn philosophy, and just say no to OLS. My point of view there is don't just run regression models, right? You've already got to the point of a model-ready data set. The incremental cost, the marginal cost of running other methods is very low. So run robust regression, run quantile regression, run partial least squares, run generalized additive models, run neural nets, run machine learning techniques, run this whole portfolio of techniques. It's a portfolio-based approach to modeling. So that's kind of some big trends I just wanted to be sure you guys are cognizant about. Real-time analytics is what we're going to talk about further. One of my favorite quotes is from, I don't know if there's any Fifth Element fans here, but anticipation denotes intelligence. So the scientist in that movie said that. Anticipation denotes intelligence. And that kind of hit me when he said that, because I was trying to figure out what is it, how do you define these things? And so, you know, if I can anticipate, that's a hallmark of intelligence. And what is anticipation? We all know that's predictive modeling, predictive analytics, right? So that fits really nicely. So those are some high level, just some trends. So let's talk about real time. Exciting area. One of my most favorite areas because I just see the value there. So the whole idea here is you're not querying a static batch database anymore. You're querying a stream of data. An example up here, when 3 credit card authorizations for the same occur in any 5 seconds window, deny that request for fraud. So it's basically, it's a different paradigm. It's almost using data before it becomes data. You're using it in this event metaphor. You're querying a stream. And a lot of good use cases, fraud, et cetera. You can read that up there. Quantitative trading is a big one. Sensor fusion, offer optimization, et cetera. But some of the characteristics are high volume of data, usually. Low latency responses is required, and a lot of variability, a lot of integration tasks that need with that stream of data, or multiple streams of data coming in. All right, so again, why do I care about real time? Is another buzzword? Why do I care? So what I'm doing here, this is a good slide from TIBCO. It's a good vendor in this space, actually. And what they've shown here is basically a nice way to think about this. So you have a business event that occurs. And then you have analytics latency between data captured and insight, and you have response latency between decision made and action taken, all right? So on the y-axis there is your value. And if you have a use case where you can push up action taken near the business event and unlock business value, you've got a great use case for real time, right? So be sure you go through this mental exercise to determine if there's a good reason why you should invest in these types of technologies. It's a different paradigm. It's a different skill set. But you want to scale this. If you do find applications, scale it, scale it, scale it. That's how you, and how do you scale it? You have to use machines. So this is where we go into the next area here. So what I've been doing is I kind of do this meta-analysis. What I do is look around and what other folks are doing. Who is the best of breed in this area right now? Who is processing huge amounts of data, doing predictive analytics, doing optimization in real time, and actually has a lot at stake. And those are the trading community, right? The high-frequency trading community, the financial community. So, so we'll just follow the leaders here. We'll just look, and what I want to share with you is some of the research we've done in those areas, and what are they doing? I mean, what kind of technologies are they, at least they're sharing with us that I can see. They're probably beyond what I'm showing you here, but this is a good start for a lot of our applications in the enterprise. So some good areas, some buzzwords and keywords that you'll be hearing about. So event systems fits in this paradigm, complex events processing, enterprise service bus. Robotics is a huge area for real time. You can learn a lot about real time applications and technologies from the robotics discipline, and streaming is another big keyword. All right, so if you look at this Forrester Wave, you see some of the big players there in this space. Oracle, TIBCO, Software AG. Also, you see open source, FuseSource and MuleSoft is up there as well. So you see a good dichotomy there between commercial and open source technologies. And if you're interested in reading more about this, there's some really good books here. Smart enough systems is a really good one to read. I think that would start with there. And then you can go in more of these other sophisticated books if you're interested in this area, intelligent systems. Okay, one byproduct of building this, we'll talk about it a little bit more, we'll define enterprise service buses and message-oriented middleware, but a very elegant byproduct just falls in your lap. So I'll give you an example here, and it's kind of an integration idea. So you've got all your disparate systems. You've got your point-of-sale systems, your Swift systems, your CRM systems, et cetera, all your systems in your enterprise. You put a simple little, write some simple code or a little agent on there to fire each transaction in what we call the event cloud. And now you've got this, you've basically Twitterized your company. It's an asynchronous type of a model where it's a fire and forget, and you've got this stream of information that you can act on in real time. And this comes from another vendor called Progress, who's really good at this space as well. This is a slide that kind of hit me and said, wow, this is interesting. I mean, if I can use this, if I had some technology to work on this event cloud, and I could write to SQL data stores, I could call events and generate emails and do things with it and do kinds of really advanced analytics on this stream, that would be a really powerful use case for the enterprise. Okay, so let's look around the vendors. So we showed you some of the top vendors, and let's see what they're doing in their building their real-time stack. So we've got Furiano up here, we got Software AG up here, we got TIBCO, and we got IBM. And one thing you'll see in all of them, there's a big pipe. They all have this pipe abstraction, this metaphor of a pipe. And that's what's called this enterprise service bus. And we're saying that that's a really good way to start if you want to build out a real-time event system, is figure out how to implement this. A lot of folks may already have an ESB in their enterprise. But just think about it as a big pipe. I'm throwing messages through it. Messages are being routing. I have some routing logic. We'll share with you some software that can do that. And then you can route it to whatever you want to do. You want to launch SQL, you want to run R, you want to run SAS, you want to run some custom Java, whatever you want to do. You can route those messages or packets of messages through this bus and add analytics to it. All right, so essential ingredients to set up a real-time system, just because I'm showing short on time here, is you need a messaging system, you need an advanced analytics engine. A best practice is to also have a business process modeling engine as well, so you can do long-running jobs, like if you fire enough an exception, you want a human to work that, you can fire off a BPM flow to run reports, et cetera, and a rules repository, right? That's another best practice, to have a repository of rules where you abstract rules out of your application to a repository, and they're very easily updated there. Okay, so how does big data fit into all this? So we've talked about petabytes and terabytes. Most folks are in the gigabytes, terabytes areas today, but here's all the words. If you're interested in exabytes, zettabytes, yottabytes, et cetera. A really good framework, I was talking to Andreas Wiegand in Stanford Lab, is the following. Think data set, think tool set, think skill set, and then think mindset. I'm hearing a lot of talk about data set and tool set, data set and tool set. But you also have to think about skill set and mindset. It's a huge new paradigm that we're seeing here, this big data paradigm. And you really got to think about how can I actually use these new methods, these new tools. It just kind of liberates you as an analyst. Okay, so where's all this data going to come from real time? I'm predicting it's sensors. We've heard a lot about that today. Sensor fusion, telemetry data. I see a lot of it starting to move up here. I don't know if you guys saw that, just announced that Raspberry Pi with $25 miniature computer. Moats are everywhere. I think there's going to be a huge amount of sensor data coming up in a few years that is going to overwhelm and be a lot of opportunity to apply a lot of these technologies. Biomedical, I think it'll revolutionize healthcare. Just a lot of cool areas of applications there. All right, another best practice, I've got 16 seconds, is agents. So just research agents. Agents are used in these real-time paradigms. And then we've done a lot with it. Here is like the stack we've built. Service Mix is our ESB. It's Apache. Apache ActiveMQ. Apache Camel is our routing engine. Postgres, Hadoop, and R. R is an open source tool that we use for all our analytics engine. My time is up. So thank you guys, and keep it real.